Hello and welcome to the Comedian's Tea Party with Deaves. Today we have Ross McGrane on the podcast, and we just have a great chat. It's really good fun, really good fun. And I know I say that a lot of these podcasts are really good fun, but this was, the lovely thing at the minute is I'm just getting loads of my really good friends on the podcast, and I'm just having a lovely time, just chatting. It's really good fun, and I'm still getting loads of really good feedback from everyone, and it's just lovely. I'm just having a lovely time. Additionally, I had really good fun editing this podcast as well, which is something that I didn't imagine I would ever say, but it is quite amusing. Basically, like Ross suggests early on, because Ross is somewhat known for his love of swearing. He just swears a lot. It happens, it's not a bad thing. It just swears a lot. And he suggests early on that it'd be funny if I just bleep out all the swear words. It's not particularly a swear-free podcast per se. I'm interviewing comedians. Occasionally, the odd swear word will fall out, but I just thought it'd be fun to get involved in the bleeping game, and I just decided to bleep out Ross's swear word. It started off, and it was only like one swear word. I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's not a thing. And then as it progressed, I mean, you'll see, it got fun. It became a challenge, which is great. I'm sure many of you will notice. I mentioned on the last intro that John pronounced connoisseur odd, and I'm starting to think that maybe it's me that can't pronounce connoisseur, because Ross went wild on mispronouncing connoisseurs. But it was one of those things where he was saying it's so wrong and so often that I was just sort of looking at him thinking, maybe I'm the wrong. I didn't want to bring it up, but it's quite spectacular. He also mispronounces almond as almond, which is that's a thing that comes up all the time. That's not him. He's not that bad, but that is a conversation I often have. It's almond. I'm pretty sure it's almond. It should be almond. We played the first 2 ever games of What's in the Tea. I didn't name the game until afterwards, but we played What's in the Tea, where I get Ross to guess what is in the tea. We also discussed the ridiculous nature of John's half chocolate digestive biscuit. It's not a half chocolate, is it? It's just a chocolate digestive bit. It's ridiculous. I think this is going to be a sticking point that's going to come up a lot. It's obviously not a half chocolate. God. There are more sound issues, like there were on the last couple of podcasts, which is weird, and I can't work out what's started happening, but it has, and I'm going to try and address it for the future ones. They're more and more minor every time, so maybe the next one will be fine. I don't know. Let's see. But I recorded 3 of them in exactly the same way, so who knows? And I should also point out that in the last podcast, I said that I couldn't stand rhombus-shaped cups, which obviously I didn't mean rhombus-shaped cup, did I? I meant a trapezium-shaped cup, like some kind of lunatic. So I apologise for that. A couple of people were confused by my hatred of rhombus-shaped cups. I've never seen a rhombus-shaped cup, and as it happens, I did actually Google it afterwards, and it looks quite good, actually. Look up rhombus-shaped cups. It's a little treat for us all. Yeah. It's a really fun show. Enjoy it. Cheers, see you in a bit. Hello, and welcome to the Comedian's Tea Party with me, Deaves. No, I've done that wrong. I'm going to start again. What's it called? Hello, and welcome to the Comedian's Tea Party with Deaves, with me, Deaves, and my guest today, Ross McGrane.
Hello, mate.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm not bad, thanks.
Cool.
Mate.
I might leave that first bit in.
Yeah, well, why not, mate? Why not? Yeah.
But if not, I got it wrong. Forgot the name of the podcast. Yeah, cool.
Cool.
Well, thanks for coming on, mate. See you later.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Yeah. What have you been up to today? Just drop your daughter off?
Drop my daughter off at nursery. Hot-tailed here. Done a little Instagram story of my progress from car to this table right here, which I've thoroughly enjoyed.
Yes, which involves me in my pants.
You in your pants at some part of it. Yeah.
It's a good. Go and check it out. Well, you can't actually because it'll be
What's that? The Ross McGrane onto it. Oh, don't worry, I'll save it, mate.
But you will for the old bank. Cool. How do these conversations start?
Oh, mate, amazing. Do you want to start with do you want me to do it? Should I do it?
No.
Welcome to the Comedians Tea Party with Deaves, with me, Deaves.
Who's
Today we are cracking on. Who's my guest?
It's too early to drink it yet.
Some nobody, mate, from the deepest, darkest
normally...
depths of Shoebury.
Yeah.
All right. So what happens normally now? When do you bring the tea into the fray?
When it's cool enough to drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, we can mention the fact that we're waiting for it now. It's from Twinings, from their Super Blend range. So thanks again to Twinings for sending me some free tea to drink.
I'm not a big tea drinker. You're a big tea drinker, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
I haven't. I don't do the whole milk thing now. So I used to drink. Well,
this is a question that often comes up.
I'm more of a coffee kind of guy.
Yeah. So are you a coffee connoisseur or just?
I'm a bit of a coffee snob. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say connoisseur. I think I like. You go. I drink coffee. To I drink too much coffee. To I'm a coffee snob. To I'm a coffee connoisseur. You know, coffee connoisseurs are the ones that are buying coffees that badgers as shit out in Kenya or something.
Yeah.
I'm not spending like that much money on a coffee, but I do use a cafetiere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or a jug with a plunger on it for my Shoebury people.
So you've got a jug with a plunger on it. You've got a cafetiere, so you get in there, but you put Kenko in it.
No, it's not Kenko, but it is like the sort of £3.50 to £5. I just bought one last night called Grumpy Mule.
Okay. Oh, I saw that on your old Instagram story.
Yeah, I had it this morning. It was quite nice. It was very nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't really. I just still have a tea every now and again because if I am now, I used to drink too much coffee, and now I'm a coffee snob. I have if I have a coffee after 2:00, then I'm up.
Yeah.
Thinking about, I don't know, depressing shit until 4:00 in the morning.
I thought you were going to say thinking about the world and the possibilities of life, and
that's not coffee. No. That's marijuana.
Right.
But but no, Holly, my other half, she drinks. She's quite into her teas.
Yeah.
She's got an array. I don't mind.
You always have a nice green tea when I come round.
Yeah, I will have it every now and again. But it just tastes like, slightly dirty water.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Well,
but it's too strong.
Looking forward to this one.
I'm talking about green tea. This is a nice fruity one. I'm quite looking forward to it.
Well, it is technically a green tea. It's Twinings Energize, which is green tea. It's got mandarin and apple with guarana.
Mandarin. See, I love a Chinese, and I thought I'd like this. Oh, God.
Oh, incredible. Are you going to want to take that bag out then?
Well, we don't get to go out that much now because of Lexi being born and stuff. I'm sorry. Sorry, no, I'm joking. Cut that out. Definitely cut that out. Am I going to take it out? Should you take it out? Well,
it's up to you. It's 3+ minutes they recommend. I'm going to leave mine in.
You're going to leave yours in?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll leave mine in for a bit then. You're the expert.
Yeah. I always think that the minimum length of time isn't quite enough to get all the flavour. And then it gets to a point and you just sort of drink it quite quickly. So
okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, all right. Well,
by the time it's gone, it's all right.
Got one later as well.
Yes.
Our dessert tea.
So rhubarb and ginger from Tea Pigs, which I've been looking forward to. But basically, as you know, but the guests probably don't. I always cause I've got a large selection of teas that sort of Twinings and Tea Pigs have sent to me, and I always ask the guests to pick 2 teas. One is the first one that we'll definitely have. The second one is one that we'll hopefully have. And so far, nobody's picked the rhubarb and ginger, and I've sort of been looking at it every week going, "Go on, this time."
I am a fan of both rhubarb and ginger.
Yeah.
Ginger because it's good for you.
Yeah.
In a way that hurts. Like when things hurt.
Yeah, it's working.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like aftershave and and parenthood.
Parenthood. Yeah. Yeah. So I picked it for that reason. I like rhubarb because I used to have rhubarb crumble a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
But yes, we'll see how that goes.
Big fan of rhubarb.
Yeah,
I had a nice rhubarb and custard ice cream in Cornwall last year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's delicious.
We should be getting some of that down here, shouldn't we? Come on, Rossies.
Yeah, well, you can get it. It's around. There's What's the one? There's one on the seafront. Ice cream place. Go in
Loads,
there.
mate.
Have a little. No, but like big one. Next to like Stardust.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, what is it? The
arcade.
Baskin Robbins. It's called.
Yeah.
It's like an American chain thing.
Yeah. But they've got some
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
flavours in there.
Yeah. Of course. Just I don't really do the dairy thing though, do
No, it's a good point.
I? A bit of Swedish glaze. Good.
Yeah. So what's going on with the festival?
The festival. So, I mean, do you want to? Should we tell people who I am first?
Go on,
Properly,
yeah. It's Ross McGrane. Yeah,
so-
I've realised before John's episode yesterday, because I recorded with John.
Oh,
Oates,
did you? Yeah. My other half.
Yes, that was really good fun. And as you can imagine, we got to a point where he just kept doing puns.
Yeah, that does not surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it a 3-hour-long podcast?
it was an hour and 20, so yeah, it's not too bad.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I had
despite
to cut him off.
so despite what most people might think, not everyone knows who I am. You know, or what I think anyway.
Yeah,
generally.
it's like they didn't see you on Britain's Got Talent.
No, cheers. Well, let's not bring that up. So I'm a comedian, obviously, stand-up comedian. I've been in the industry for most of my life. My dad used to run gigs in Southend, one of the only alternative comedy nights out of Southend.
Yeah, it's probably the first live comedy I saw.
Was it?
Well, no, it's Funny Bunnies would have been the first.
Funny Bunnies.
Yeah.
So that was the club that I set up with my dad when I left school.
Yeah, and Matt Adlington.
And Matt Adlington as well, yeah. And that sort of was an offshoot of a business. When I was 14, I put on my first comedy night, and it was part of a business project in school. And Mickey Flanagan opened, and Lee Hurst closed. It was pretty, just casual little name drop there. But yeah, so I've been doing it. I've been in the industry a long time.
Yeah.
And I book gigs now, and I'm still skint. So next question.
Well, speaking of booking gigs, doing the whole festival, yeah. Just tell us a bit about it, because I keep bringing it up because obviously we've got my show on the 15th of June.
Just get me on your podcast to plug your own show.
Yeah, I've done it every podcast so far, but
well done.
I need to bring this out soon enough that people will actually hear me plug it.
Yeah, of course, yeah. You wouldn't want them both to miss it.
No.
You better not cut that out. So the Southend Festival. So this started, I set up the Southend Comedy Festival with a couple of people, Lee Terrell and Gary Jackets. Gary Jackets run the Joker Club in Southend, which was it's the longest established comedy night in one of in the country, I'd imagine, 30 odd years established.
Just returned to Southend again.
Yeah, it did return. I'm not really sure.
Well,
what's happening
I say that. Yeah, he did one gig, but I don't know if he's got more planned or what.
It was good, obviously a good gig anyway. One of the staples on the circuit.
First place I ever saw Terry Alderton.
Was it?
He lived down the road, actually.
Yeah, he was. I'll tell you a story about him actually. He started.
Do you want to finish talking? Sorry, I've interrupted you. That's my fault.
That's right. Don't worry about it. No, mate. Podcasts are all about tangents. So Terry Alderton started comedy at Churchill's, which is the club that my dad set up. Gary Jackets used to work there as well. And there was a TV program called Anything Goes.
Yeah.
That was filmed partly at Churchill's. So it was where they filmed. Terry Alderton was like the main face of it, and he was like they'd flick back to clips at Churchill's of him emceeing and other comedians, and then it'd go to sketches. And one of the sketches was around about the time Chris Eubank had retired from boxing.
Right.
So it was a sketch where Terry Alderton was in all these sketches, and it was him playing Chris Eubank because he used to do impressions, and he still does it. One of them was Chris Eubank, and it was him playing Chris Eubank doing other jobs, general jobs, and they were mainly down Southend seafronts, like calling the bingo at Mr. B's.
Okay.
God, that's how long ago it was. I don't think they still do bingo down there, do they?
I don't think Mr. B's is still there.
Mr. B's is still there.
Is it?
Yeah, that's the one on the first one at the bottom of the pier.
Right.
Bottom of Pier Hill.
Yeah.
Well, I think unless it's changed its name, I don't know. I'm sure it's called Mr. B's. Anyway, and then another one was at the Crazy Golf that was over the.
Yes.
Still there now.
The little
one.
Yeah.
It's been there for donkey's years.
Yeah. The one that had go-karting next to it. Which I think it's still there, actually.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's a Sea Life Centre.
Yeah, so I was in it as an extra for that.
Oh, amazing.
And Chris, so Terry Alderton's playing Chris Eubank, and I'm me and my dad have gone down. I'm only about 8 years old. Me and my dad have gone down to this crazy golf place to be contestants, and well, invariably Chris Eubanks uses at it, and he's and winding up my dad throughout.
Right.
And then there's a thing at the end where if you putt the ball and get it in the hole, a bell goes off, and then you win a free round. And my dad putts it in, the bell goes ding ding, and then out pops Terry Alden as Chris Eubank in full shorts and boxing gloves, and then knocks my dad out. And then I chase him off with a golf club like around the thing, and that's the end. Like a sort
Amazing.
of, what's it called, Benny Hill sort of ending.
Yeah.
So anyway, I get pulled out of primary school for this one day, and then the next day, I'm in assembly. And the teacher's like, "Oh, one of our students has had a very exciting thing happen. He's been on TV. Ross McGrane, would you like to stand up and tell everyone all about it? What channel's it on?" Now, I haven't told you what channel's it on yet, have I?
No.
Because obviously the punchline's always better at the end of the story. It was on Television X, mate, the fantasy channel. And it was basically a break for all the masturbators that were sitting there watching this show.
Oh, mate.
And I remember even this far on as an 8-year-old saying, it was on the Television X, miss, like obviously not knowing what the channel was, and the teacher sort of like pulling a face and being, oh, well, we'll all be sure to tune in.
Oh, good grief. And all the male teachers are going, like, I've already seen it.
Yeah, they were all
I've seen it.
exactly, yeah. But, so, yeah, that was the thing that happened. So what was that the tangent off of? Me
Southend
starting
Comedy
club,
Festival.
Southend Comedy Festival.
Terry Alden. Oh, because we were talking about a Joker Club. First place to sell Terry Alden.
That's right,
Which is
yeah. So
an absolute feat.
yes, yeah. He's an incredible act, Terry
Yeah.
Alden. You should, if you get a chance to see him live, I highly recommend. But yeah, so I set up the Southend Comedy Festival with him and Lee Terrell, who now runs the Laughter Academy, which is like improvised comedy workshop. Yeah. And yeah, it ran for 5 years, and then the other guys got busy with other bits and pieces, so I ended up taking it on myself for 1 year, which was 2 years ago, and then joined forces with the Estuary Fringe, which is it was an artsy kind of festival.
Yeah.
I always kind of imagined Southend Festival being like a very small shadow of satellite for Edinburgh, just like a very small. Southend's a coastal town. It works very well in Brighton and other places like that, and just to have it so that obviously comedy is all I know really, but to then join forces with an arts festival that does poetry and art trails and things like this made sense. They introduced that they were already being backed by Southend Bid, which is businesses in development, and so they're responsible for like looking after the high street and events that go on.
Great.
And so became the Southend Festival, because it's no longer just about comedy. But comedy is very much the backbone of it. In all honesty, there's an incredible shows coming down this year. I'm really chuffed with.
Yeah, some massive acts, aren't they?
Panned out. Yeah, Cole Donnelly, who's been on your podcast before, famous from being your first guest.
Yes, that's how people know him. It's how he got on TV.
I've got Jade Adams doing a preview, followed by Stu Goldsmith doing a preview, and then a live recording of the Comedian podcast directly after.
Yeah, absolutely. On the same day that I'm recording a live episode of this very podcast.
There you go, mate. I'll tee it up, you knock it out.
Yeah.
We've got Rich Wilson, who's one of my favourite club comics ever.
Incredible.
Really,
and now lives down the road.
Yeah, he now lives
He's
down the road.
coming on at some point.
He absolutely should. He's incredible comedian and lovely bloke as well. He's doing his preview. Lee Nelson is headlining my birthday comedy gala at the Parkin
Amazing.
Ballroom in Southend.
What's the date of that?
That's the 30th of June on my actual birthday. It's a Sunday. We've also got all the other shows are at the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and they're at the Alex in Southend, which is home to my weekly comedy club, New Material Night.
Which is always good fun.
Yeah. With the
even when it's weird,
it is always a nice gig, isn't it? Yeah, it's a lovely gig, lovely people. Yes.
Yeah. It's the nice thing about comedy in Southend is there's like more appreciation for it than you imagine there probably would be in sort of a.
Well, yeah, I think like this is something I've said quite often about Southend as well. Like if we take it for granted, but when you're creative, it's not just Southend. I think it's every town. If you are a creative and you're in the creative scene, whatever your field of creativity is, then there is, as long as you're not too self-absorbed. Because I think anyone who's a creative, you've got to be. There has to be an element of arrogance there. Maybe not in all things, but I think there has to, particularly in stand-up. You know, it's very solitary. You're up there on your own. You're talking about you for 20 minutes, and you're just basically begging for approval for the people. Well,
the funny thing about that is sort of the reason that I got involved with it, because I've always been involved in music anyway, but I've always been a drummer and sort of sat at the back of the stage, and like even in bands where I still had a sort of reasonable amount of input, I didn't have that much input.
Yeah.
And I always just thought like I've got some good ideas that I just want to sort of convey, and like I'd always, because I was sort of, you know, I'm an awkward adult, but I was a very awkward child. And sort of like I always had things that I wanted to say, and like never felt like I could pipe up and get the attention. So I was where can I go? And okay, they've got no choice but to listen to me. I've got a microphone now.
100%. So yeah. I can imagine it. I mean, it is great therapy, I think, for a lot of people. Absolutely. A lot of comedians would agree with that. So so being a creative, you've got to have like an element of arrogance and confidence, obviously. Yeah. And I think like the ones that do well are the people that balance that, and so the arrogance, so the confidence doesn't become too arrogant, and then you become an arsehole. You know, every creative industry is full of, you know, arseholes. Yeah. Just varying degrees of arseholish. But honestly, I think like I don't believe in that nice guys finish last necessarily. You know, I think like I do agree that you have to be. I think
you have to be ruthless and cutthroat to an extent.
I think it's actually fact that more disagreeable people do better. I think disagreeable people, agreeable people by definition are more empathetic and more blend for other people. Whereas disagreeable people tend to like nothing will stop them on like the course of a path.
Absolutely,
because they are very insular and
they're looking to disagree and butt heads.
Yeah. But I still think that you have to have an element of agreeableness in there too. Anyway, what a massive tangent. What I'm trying to say is that if you are an amicable person and have this in your creative scene, then people are happy to support you. I've noticed that with the Alex, particularly, which is like the weekly gig that I set up 6-7 years ago when I started stand up, and it was purely selfish just to have. I'd only ever run pro gigs. And I knew that I was nowhere near good enough to be put like MCing or even being on the bills that I was booking at the time. Yeah. But I was meeting loads of new friends on the open mic circuit, meeting loads of comics that, you know, we're all doing the same thing. We're all travelling the country gigging for nothing. And I know one thing I had an edge on is that I knew how to make a room nice. For comedy and set it up properly, and
which has developed you into an incredible MC.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
You're welcome.
But I set that up. It was right around the corner from my house. It was a lovely room, and it was a monthly night, and it now 6-7 years on, it's on every Sunday. We're getting 20-30 people down there almost every Sunday. That's such a lovely audience that bigger acts are wanting to come down and try out their stuff down there.
Secret TV acts.
Yeah, that we're not allowed to list. But we had Bobby Mayer down recently. Russell Kane's been down there a couple of times. Louisa Ermelan, Patrick Monaghan, Darren Harriott. It's becoming a really great room for stand up. But most of that is down to the audience, and the audience has always been built up of mainly other creatives, that we know, friends.
Well, that's
of friends.
The thing, because there are so many people that like this is a huge music scene in Southend. There always has been, really. So some of the people that come out of Southend is incredible, and there's still like a massive music scene. Like there was it sort of went down a bit, but then there's been a massive resurgence, and there's some huge bands, like huge touring bands now. Like even people like Nothing But Thieves, they've come out sort of recently from Southend, and they're touring America and all sorts. Like they're smashing it, and it's amazing. And with that, like there's loads of musicians about who there's not always sort of good rock gigs on or whatever, so they like a bit of sort of mayhem, so they come and watch comedy. And, of course, it's incredible. And
there's definitely crossover there. I think like it's like that. I've never been a part of the music scene. I'm into music. I play a bit of guitar and stuff like that, but only like around a campfire crap that you'd usually expect. But like I did a gigs at a venue in Southend called Peggy Sue's. It's in Leigh-on-Sea actually, but it is like it's like a hidden gem of Leigh-on-Sea, I think. And it's just a tiny little bar. super intimate, lovely people, run by lovely people, owned by lovely people. We put on a comedy night down there that was just an absolute joy to play.
Absolutely.
But this place, as small as it is like a little hub for the alternative music scene in Southend.
Yeah.
I saw so many great musicians go down there, and I'm not saying there aren't other places, but I'm just out of that. So that's the only place that I've seen.
Yeah.
And then through doing the Alex, there's So Slam as well. So Slam Sounds.
Yes.
I met a guy called Ian who runs that, and puts on nights with Joe Lamb as well, who runs, these people obviously, down at London Road Studios. They're not. You can't be in it if you're in it for the money. You've got a long, arduous journey ahead of you. Do you know what I mean?
And you're an idiot.
Yeah, yeah. Music's obviously even harder than comedy in a way because there's so many more musicians than there are comedians.
It's much harder to get gigs. Like with a band that I was in, we. Considering we were fairly unknown, like we started getting a little bit of traction, which was like 10 years ago. But we did, in our first year of being together, we did about 100 gigs, which is remarkable. Like, it's unheard of. But we were just getting booked loads.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it went downhill.
but that's the point. It's hard. It is hard. Yeah. That's what you're saying.
Whereas in comedy, it's easy to pick up 100 gigs in a year.
It is, yeah. I mean, the quality level of gigs that are going to be.
Yeah.
But the point is that you have to do that, and I see it with new acts coming through the Addicts like all the time. Is that there's a lot of people that have done gigs that are good. They've got a natural ability. But you've got to really fucking want it, mate. It's the same with music, isn't it? If you really, really want it, the reality is, I know it's cliche, but it's reality. You've got to be doing them 100 gigs and then not getting paid for any of them, and then doing another 100 gigs and another. The only thing someone said to me the other week. The only thing that's consistent among successful people is not giving up at some point.
Yeah.
Because it's how many times, particularly with comedy, and how solitary it is.
Isn't it? Well, that's the thing.
Dying on your ass in Manchester and having to get the megabus back. Oh.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah, like powerfully from experience.
Yeah. I know the story well. Let's not bring it up unless you particularly want to.
That doesn't bother me. There's worse stories we could talk about, trust me.
Oh, yeah. But that's the thing, isn't it? Like even when acts are rubbish. Now, not all the time, because there are some acts who we know full well have been going for absolutely years, and they're awful. They've always been awful, but they just keep going. But there's also some of them that are awful, and they've always been awful, but they just keep going. Eventually, they'll just crack onto something.
Yeah. I mean, in the interest of radio and that, I'll take the other. I'll take the non-skeptical side of the coin and say, comedy's subjective side. Maybe some people find them funny, but no, you are right.
Do you want me to list them? Or?
There's obviously in any trade, there's people that are not going to be as good as others, and in comedy, it's obviously very noticeable if someone's bad because you are standing there literally with a spotlight on you in front, and you're the only one standing up facing in a different direction to everyone else. So,
but that's the thing, because comedy is subjective. Sorry to cut you off there, but like you say, comedy is absolutely subjective, and with that, sometimes you'll see someone and think, well, they're god awful.
Yeah.
But the next time you see them, you'll go, oh, well, they're incredible.
Absolutely.
That's one of the best things I've ever seen.
I think with the point.
Because that happened with, I'm not going to say who it is, but that happened with an act who is now doing like a few bits of TV stuff.
Of course, it happens. I mean,
the first time I saw him, I thought he was rubbish. The second time I saw him, I walked away going, oh, that's one of the best things I've ever seen.
What is that? No one starts out comedy TV ready, do they? And this is, I say at the beginning of all my gigs at the Alex, it's not like music where you practice in a room until you're good. You can only get good by being out in front of a room of people, and invariably a room with mostly other acts in it. And so, in the early stages of your career, you are going to be bombing and being crap in front of people. That is just how it is.
But as you know,
I'm guilty as well.
Even after you've got good, sometimes you'll still bomb. And
yeah,
those people
of
walk
course.
away thinking you're rubbish.
Well, exactly, yeah, and you've got to deal with that, And as a promoter, I know how a promoter's brain works. I know that if I go out and I just have a flat gig or whatever, or the audience were a bit flat, or I was flat, or whatever.
Yeah.
I know that's how that I'm now in a category in that promoter's brain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not his fault for thinking that, but you only get that. I say this as well to new acts. You only every time you're on that stage, you are promoting yourself to people, aren't you? So I get that. What there is in stand up and in any creative field is like you get delusions of grandeur. The thing is with the comedy community is it's a double-edged sword. It's very toxic in at times, but it's also an incredibly supportive community.
Yeah.
And you've also got like these two separate circuits that are like living, breathing organisms,
Absolutely,
maybe even more. You know, you've got the open mic circuit, which is essentially thousands upon thousands of brand new acts all doing open mic nights, all putting on their own gigs, travelling all over the country, desperately trying to progress. You've got the paid circuit where people are like, you know, ticking around getting paid. Then you've got like the old school circuit of you know, and it's all they've all got their beautiful qualities. It's such an incredible. When a comedian Incognito passed away the other day, it made me feel really proud to be a part of like this comedy circuit, just seeing the outpour of love and support for his family, and you know, it was really phenomenal. But you know, on the flip, then on the complete mirror side of that, you go onto like one of the forums on there that's predominantly open mic comedians, and it's just like don't get me wrong, there's benefits to it, and I've benefited from it, getting gigs and stuff. But it is like, it can be the most toxic wasteland of just poisonous comments and stuff. So yeah, you have got this. You've basically got. What you're trying to say is you get acts that have been going 5-6 years, gigging constantly, never seeming to improve, never progressing. Yeah. And yeah, that does make it more difficult for acts that are good and are trying to progress. Yeah. And it's ultimately because they've found a sense of community in comedy that they wouldn't have necessarily got in their other life. A bit like you saying you were an awkward kid. You struggle to find your voice and stand up and listen. So you found that by getting up on the stage, and probably in the community of people that you met, because you meet like-minded people that are like that. Yes, you know, there's a reason why a lot of comedians suffer from anxiety and stuff like that, because they are anxious people generally, and they live behind this, you know. And it's a beautiful thing, but it's also annoying. You know what I mean? It's just like, come on, mate, just stop applying for my gigs. Started off so poignant and then went back into mugging someone off, didn't it?
It turned quickly at the end. It was a quick cue.
Leading one way, tighten the other. First raw comedy.
I mean, we're halfway through these teas now. What do you think?
Yeah, mate, it's all right. Yeah, I mean, I don't dislike it. Like I say,
Yeah, I quite like this one actually. There's what is this? It's Energize, isn't it? Yeah.
That's what made me pick it, because
you wanted a coffee.
I wanted a coffee, really.
We don't do coffee here,
and you know, I don't, I don't know if I don't know whether I feel energised or not. I mean, it is better for you, isn't it, than coffee?
Absolutely. It feels cleaner. It feels like a cleaner drink. Do you know what I mean? Like sort of.
It's definitely
like cream eating sort of like.
Drink,
It's that.
But it's nice, mate.
It's tasty. It's because it's got a fruity edge, but I wouldn't call it fruity as such. That sort of the mandarin and the apple sort of really like brings out a sort of a quite pleasant side of like the. I don't know. Would you describe green tea as bitter?
I suppose it is. Yeah, this is what I mean. When I said it tastes a bit like dirty water, I just mean like you know, because it's sort of like you're like.
But I don't say bitter in a bad way. It's just you get sort of bitter drinks, but it's So rather than sort of it just being a fruity sort of mandarin thing.
Yeah, I think the fruit
it's brought out the sort of a quite tasty side of it.
I think the sweetness of the fruit is taken away from the bitterness of the actual green tea and guarana.
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. What's in the ingredients? If you had to guess the ingredients, what would you say?
Tea leaves, green tea leaves.
Green tea, 65%.
Mandarin leaves.
You've got natural mandarin flavouring, 3%.
Controversial.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing ginger flavouring. Oh, that's the other one, isn't it?
That is the other one.
What else was it called? Mandarin?
Well, you got the thing there.
Oh, yeah. Apples. Got apples in it.
It has got apple pieces, 20%.
guarana.
Yeah, 2%.
2% guarana. That's your energy right there.
Yeah. There's also 8% of natural apple flavouring with other natural flavourings.
Well, what other natural? That's a bit vague, isn't it?
It is vague.
Give him a ring, mate.
Yeah.
It's nice of them to send you all this stuff, though, isn't it?
It's great. It's really nice. Yeah, that's it. I
Amazing,
just went on Twitter and just said, "Can I have some tea? I'm going to do a podcast." And they said, "Why?" And they said, "Are you going to have on it? Are you going to have anyone that's been on TV?" I said, "Yeah."
Did they actually say that? Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. They asked for a list of guests that I had lined up, and I just got on Facebook and went around and asked everyone that I know that's been on TV to come on the podcast, and they were like, "All right, yeah." So, yeah. And they just sent me like 180 tea bags.
Oh, happy days.
Yeah. So if you were, like you say, you're not much of a tea drinker, but if you're going to drink tea, what way would you go?
Well, when I was drinking milk in tea, I'd have like maybe a tea or two a day, and I would always have Yorkshire Gold.
Yeah,
like,
classic.
So strong that the spoon stands up in it. I mean, I say that I had milk in tea. It was like literally a drop of it, but a drop of any of that. I like all the alternative milks in other stuff, but like in tea, it just never really.
Have you tried oat milk?
Yeah, but it's just not. It's not the right consistency.
Is it not?
No.
That's the one that I've heard is the only one worth it in tea.
In coffee, it's all right because in coffee you have a thicker cream, don't you? It's not creamy.
Well, I imagine soy would work in coffee. I don't like coffee, which is I've always wished that I would. But soy is sort of is thicker, it's a bit creamier, but it's too much for tea.
Yeah, it's a bit curdly.
Yeah,
but yeah, to be honest, I drink coffee black now. Really, I have like I'll have a little bit. You get this Oatly barista stuff. It's quite nice.
Yeah,
it's made for. I don't know how they make it for. It's better for coffees. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it is.
No idea. Nice. Are you? Were you a biscuit dunker?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What's your favourite biscuit?
I love a chocolate hobnob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with John yesterday. He was saying, I said to him, "What's your favourite biscuit for dipping?" And he said a half chocolate digestive.
Half.
Which confused me because obviously, but what he meant is half covered in chocolate. Then my argument was you don't get a full chocolate digestive.
Oh, exactly. It's just called he always does this.
Yeah.
Even his Shakespearean speak.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It's a chocolate biscuit, mate. Everyone's called it a chocolate biscuit forever. Everyone knows what you mean. If you say half a chocolate biscuit, you think you're getting half a chocolate biscuit.
Yeah, I thought he literally meant a chocolate biscuit cut in half.
I'm seeing him after this. I'm going to have it out of him.
Good. Shall we brew another tea?
Go on, then.
Is it too soon? I'll just finish that one.
Oh, that's all right. I'll have a palate cleansing lemon sorbet if you've got one.
No. Welcome back.
Welcome back. You just teabagged me.
Yes, I have just teabagged it. I've left the thing over there with the ingredients.
Did you tie the tea bag around the cup handle like that?
Yeah, save it from falling in.
Oh, you're so clever, aren't you?
Right. What do you think is in the rhubarb and ginger tea?
I'm going to say rhubarb and ginger.
And what do you think the percentages of those are?
Okay, let's go 40%, no, 30% ginger. No, okay. 30% rhubarb. 20% ginger.
Right, what's the other 50%?
What other stuff? Green tea.
Interesting.
Some, I don't know, bananas.
It's 50-50, ginger and rhubarb.
Is it?
Yeah.
And that's all that's in there?
Yeah, it's literally just ginger and rhubarb.
Oh, I've got a lot of time for that, mate.
Yeah.
Nice. No added colours and stuff.
Yeah. It smells delicious.
It does smell nice, yeah. What does it smell like?
It smells like an air freshener of some variety. So I don't know how that'll pan out for... I mean, we're both wearing glasses.
I mean, yeah, that's bold, putting 50% ginger in there, because ginger's a very strong...
Isn't it?
Flavour,
yeah.
isn't it? That'll be good for your vocals, that will, if you've got a sore throat.
Yeah, good. I was going to do a bit singing later.
Was you?
No.
Oh. Should we have a little sing-song now?
No.
What are these questions here?
We've done most of them.
Have we? Favourite biscuit?
Yeah. Well, what's your favourite milk alternative? If you're gonna have one.
Well, I have. On cereal, I like almond coconut.
Okay.
There's a lot, but it's usually rice milk for teas and coffees.
Right.
And oat milk sometimes for coffee as well is quite nice. Yeah.
I'm not a massive fan of rice milk.
Not a massive fan of rice milk. Why not? What's it done to you?
It mugged my mum.
Just came out pretending it was real milk, and it was like,
yeah.
No.
No, I just think it's. I don't know what it is. It just adds a weird flavour to tea.
Oh, that was too hot to drink.
Yes, that was.
Oh, that is strong flavour, mate. That is
it?
Wowzer.
Good grief! I'm terrified. What's the brewing? Does it say minimum 3 minutes or maximum 30 seconds? For at least 3 minutes. Don't rush. Just relax. Drink pure.
I mean,
1 tea temple per person.
You know, you can get like some of these machines now will do certain tea should be drank at certain temperatures.
Yes.
You know. So, I mean, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm into it. I've not got one. If any companies that make one want to send me one, then I'll happily talk about it every single podcast.
Do you let the kettle click off at the end of a?
Yeah, like John was admiring my technique yesterday because I let it click off and then let it settle. So I'm not putting it in like sort of absolutely boiling.
Okay, I'll do it the other way around. I grab it before it clicks off.
Right.
Just as it starts to simmer.
The only reason that I don't do that is obviously you can hear it starting to boil, but to my mind, that it progresses quite quickly near the end and gets hotter. So if you get it too soon, then like if you imagine, I'm just for the sake of podcasting, I'm demonstrating with my hands.
Yeah.
If you imagine the sort of the temperature in a kettle goes like that, the end of it's like that. So if you get it too soon,
that's a spike. By the way,
yeah, a massive spike. And I could be wrong. It could be a gradual thing, but like it seems from studying kettles as I do, because I have a lot of time on my hands. I've never done that before, but I just imagine. I've got to point that out. I'm not that bad. But having experienced kettles in the past, it seems to me that it gets a lot quicker at the end.
So you think it's the optimum is higher temperature, the higher temperature at the end?
No, I'm just saying. I think if you get it too soon, then you'll get it too cool.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough.
But
yeah,
by the same regard, if you get it too close to the end of it bubbling, then like it's boiling anyway.
My tap at home, comes out at 83 degrees.
Good grief!
Yeah,
have you measured that?
I've measured that. Yeah, with a probe thermometer. I just stuck it underneath it.
Jesus.
Because John Oakes didn't believe me, and he came round ours for dinner on Christmas Eve with Ali, his wife, and I was like, my taps were like too hot. Like the tap, there's something wrong with it. It's like 80 degrees.
That's not right.
It's not 80 degrees. I was like, it's 80 degrees, mate. So yeah, I invariably just pour that directly into my cafetiere.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Jesus. Well, a friend of mine was telling me that apparently 80 degrees is the optimum temperature to make like standard tea. But then someone else told me that it needs to be boiling for the tea leaves to infuse properly.
Yeah, well, this is what I thought.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We
should know. We're British. We should know how to make a proper cup of tea.
And I do a podcast about tea.
And you do a podcast about it. Should get like Brian Cox on here or someone. I bet he would tell you the scientific way of making a proper cup of tea.
Yeah.
And about the stars. I wouldn't just talk to Brian Cox about tea if you get him on his side. You've got to talk to him about other stuff.
I think that would be a waste.
Good. I do the radio as well. I'm a radio presenter.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got like I do a radio
very good show that you've had me on.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah.
Cheers.
It was really fun.
So yeah, I do a radio show with John Oakes, who's been mentioned far too many times on my podcast. Sorry about the language. You can beep all that out later.
Yeah,
but
gonna have a busy edit.
Sorry, mate. Yeah,
that's right. I'll leave some in. It's not a swear-free podcast, but I do bleep out the worst ones. But I think
I
you've been
haven't dropped any
consistent enough that
C-bombs,
it'll...
just lots of
No, I
F-bombs.
did on the first podcast.
Did you?
Yeah.
Amazing.
We were about sort of 25 minutes in, and then I just dropped the C-bomb.
Christ, yeah. Well, not Christ.
No,
it's
not
a
that
different one.
No,
Oh,
I dropped into the mix.
Oh, there it
Oh,
is.
no.
Well, that's all right. I feel
no,
fine now
no,
about the casual swearing.
I'm gonna bleep that out.
Do you know what I love is that because of the nature of the podcast you're doing, like tea, obviously, I know it's comedy orientated as well, but that you're going to have people who are just tea enthusiasts,
Little old ladies.
search for tea, little old ladies and stuff like that.
I wonder if anyone talks about tea.
And size like saying the word after 25 minutes. I've said the F word 27 times. I've just done the C bomb as well. I've stooped. I'm sorry. Right, okay, look, let's forget
Welcome
about
to
all
my level.
that. So yeah, I do the radio. I do a radio show on Radio Essex, which is a commercial station.
Can't swear on there.
Cannot swear on air, which is, this is a breath of fresh air. So
It's a challenge for you, isn't it?
but do you know what? It's not. I don't find it challenging.
Really?
It's weird. There's been like times where it's come close,
Yeah.
but that I think more with subject matter rather than. And I'm not just saying on Radio Essex. I've been doing bits and bobs on radio for about 10 years probably, and yeah, I mean I've definitely been near the mark on some of the online stations that I was on in the early days. Probably beyond the mark a little bit.
Of the two of you, is John the only one to have sworn?
He has. He'll be fuming that you've brought that up as well. But yeah, he did. He did.
Well, it's always in my mind.
Yeah. Well,
You got through the podcast without swearing.
Do you know what? John is just the perfect person to do a radio show with. Because as you say, you've done a podcast with him, and he's great at filling gaps and just talking and being interesting and funny as well. And we were doing a breakfast show for a different FM station, community station locally, and it was right on the day of the referendum vote, and this was a station aimed at young people, and we were tasked with sort of engaging them a little bit in what was going on, and we had a councillor on, a Tory councillor, friend of mine, James Cottis, and lovely bloke. We don't share the same political views, but he's a lovely guy, a funny bloke as well, and we've had lots of laughs, and we were having quite a passionate conversation about the Brexit vote, and John just forgot where he was for a minute and let out no, but and then just tried to clasp everything, the words back into his mouth,
words thrown back in.
But we went straight to a song. We apologised for it profusely afterwards, and explained, it's an emotive topic. John's just getting passionate, and we apologise if we offend anyone. And the way it works generally is that someone's got to complain to Ofcom for them to even investigate.
Right, okay.
Ofcom don't have imagine how many people they'd need to be sitting there constantly monitoring the radio. So it's done on a complaint system.
But they've had stuff on, massive radio stations. So, and it's that thing. They just deal with it. They apologise, go straight to a song, and then.
Yeah, a lot of it is down to every case is taken on individual merit, and there is no rate card for punishment. So that is why stations are so. Is that your next guest?
I believe that'll be Jordan Gray. Yeah. Go on, I'll go and answer it.
Hello. Thanks for keeping the seat warm.
That's all right. No. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
Good.
Can I sit here and just be quiet?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
I've got a third microphone, but it's not set up, and I'd have to.
It'd be weird to drop in Act 3.
Yeah.
Deus Ex Machina situation going on.
Yeah. How you doing? You all right?
Alright, thanks. Yeah, I'm good.
Cool.
I've had loads of energy drinks, so
okay.
I think we're on the same level of.
We've
had an energy tea.
Super blend of Twinings.
Oh man, are you actually recording right now?
Yes.
Oh, don't
literally.
talk to me. On here,
Don't worry, I haven't got anything interesting left to say. What we were talking about, Ofcom.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Yeah, so you ain't got a tough act to follow, John. Yeah, well, I can't remember what I was saying now. What were we saying?
I don't know.
I was talking about swearing on the radio.
Oh, yeah,
that's right.
Course,
we were exposing John Oakes for being the only one out of the two of us to have sworn on the radio before. So yeah, you can. You were saying big stations have got away with it and stuff like that. So the reason why people, even smaller stations, you have to be so careful, is that there is no rate card on fines or things that can happen. You could have your licence revoked. They could fine you £1 million, or they could fine you £100. There's no way of knowing.
Right.
They take it on its individual merit. So you have had situations on national radio, like Kiss and stuff like that years ago, where they were fined like 175 grand and the presenter lost their job. Ultimately, the one theme that happens when things like that, when a high profile complaint goes, the presenter loses their job, and then they struggle to get a job after it. But this was, there's no watershed on the radio. You just have to pay due care and attention to when children might be listening.
Yes.
And that is during the breakfast show, ultimately. Like 8:00 in the morning or whenever it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no rule to say you can't say on the radio. You've just got to be able to justify it.
Right.
And,
okay.
9 times out of 10, you'll have a hard time justifying saying.
Yes. So now you're just taking the opportunity to say it 146 times. Which reminds me of that gig in Peggy Sue's.
What? Which one? Oh, the one where
the one.
Oh God, yeah, that was amazing.
Know the one. The one where we ended up getting 200 quid thrown in a bucket.
Yeah, it was biblical, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a weird turnaround.
We had. I feel weird not referencing the fact that Jordan Gray's now in the room, by the way.
Disembodied audience.
That's all right. This is like the world's worst live recording of a podcast.
Do you want me to set you up a microphone without a cable?
It's fine. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. No. Yeah. So.
Is this live?
This Yeah. So what were we saying? Talking about Peggy Sue's. Yeah. So yeah,
this is why Jordan's here.
This was the first ever Peggy Sue's gig.
Was it the first one?
It was the first ever one. Yeah, and I had Ash Frith closing.
Yeah.
You and Matt were on the bill.
Yeah. Janet Garner, and I emceed, and yeah, it was like like it's a very small venue, but it was a nice crowd. And Jordan's had enough. She's gone. Yeah, Jordan's gone for a poo.
Yeah, there was this table, so obviously in a comedy club as an MC, your job, ultimately your job is to make that room nice for the comedians. Because the way I see it is, if you make it nice for the comedians, the audience will have a good night. You want to make everyone feel welcome and stuff like that.
And as previously discussed, you are a great MC, so
thank you, mate.
You're good at doing it.
I appreciate you saying that. So I'm doing as best I can in that environment, and it was going well. It's nice. It was a nice gig. There was everyone was very.
It was a nice gig.
Very chatty, because it's such a small, intimate environment. I think that's where comedy works best. And when you're MCing and you're talking to people, you're getting people's names, find out what they do for a living, having a bit of banter, and particularly in an environment like that where it's like a nice family sort of run pub.
Yeah.
You've got everyone knows everyone. So when you take the mick out of Dave, they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll take the mick out of Dave," and it's like never took away from the comedy, but there was a table that stood out a little bit, and they were young. Yeah. There was 4 of them. They were young. 3 was it 2 girls? No, 3 of them. 2 girls and 1 bloke,
2 guys, 1 girl.
So yeah, so we were doing the gig. It's happening, right? So I talked to them like I talked to everybody else in the room, and they were very close-offish and not very comebacky.
Yeah.
So, which is fair enough. They don't have to talk to me, and I'd like to think I'm experienced enough to work out when someone doesn't want to be spoken to, and I'll leave them alone. I don't want anyone to feel awkward. Whole point, in spite of what most people think in comedy audiences, your job's to make them the hero, not mug them all off. They think they're all out to get picked on, but that's a very old style of comedy. So yeah, I've talked to them, and then anyway, so that I got the acts on, and then while the acts are on, they're now talking amongst themselves while the acts are on, and that just me off, because now you're being disrespectful, particularly in a room as small as that where everyone's on top of each other. You're not just being disrespectful to the people on stage, you're being disrespectful to the other people in the audience around you. And you know what it's like, it's a ripple effect. If I'm sitting here and this table next to me are talking amongst themselves, I'm getting the ump. So now I'm not in a place where I'm 100% I'm organically going to laugh. That laugh's not going to organically fall out my face anymore, and it's ruining my night, right? So now I've got to deal with them. But again, not in a. I don't go. I would never go out and attack them straight away. No. I would just reference the fact that you're talking amongst yourselves. What's so important that you can't wait? And then the geezer's like, well, just don't talk to me. Just don't talk. No, it was swearing, wasn't it? It was like, what? She put her hand up, and I was like, what's the matter? And she was like, why is it every other word you got to say is f. And I was like, well.
She said it a lot more than that as well. She actually said it. I mean, not to say that I counted, but she definitely said it more than you said it in the entire evening.
Yeah, of course. And as a precursor to this point of the story as well, it's worth noting that when I asked them where they met, they said they met in church. This is a table of Christians, right? And I would never take the out, despite my atheistic beliefs. I would never. I truly believe in whatever you want to do is fine for your day, and I would never ever single people out, something like that, in a comedy environment, because you just don't do it. Again, a very old style of comedy, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like, I wish it was on camera, this gig, because I feel like with all what they were throwing at me at this point, I'd still been totally nice to them.
Yeah.
Kept them the hero, didn't victimise them. And then she said this and said, "Oh, why is it everyone you've got to say?" And I was like, "Well, you just said like 8 times in one sentence. I don't think you've really got the, the right to now call out people for swearing." And then I took it into a bit of material about why I swear the way I do.
Good
and
bit.
Left them alone again, and then and they started talking again or something. And I went back to him, and he was like, he started being rude and obnoxious, and was like, just don't talk to me, don't talk to me. And I was like, do you know what? You can go now. You know what I mean? I was like, the door's there. It's not Trump's America. If you want to leave, you can leave. And he was like, no, just do your thing. And I was like, do you know what? Actually, you've created an atmosphere. I think it's actually the best thing for the night and all the other people in the room. If you just get up and you just go, just get up and so put your coat on
and we were all in support of that.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, because it's a risky strategy as a compere when you've got a heckler. And you go and you decide now it's time to attack rather than defend. Yeah. Then you need the rest of that room to go along with you, mate, or it's very very awkward. Had it at another gig of mine the other week. It wasn't nothing nasty, but there was a couple of ladies that had a few too many to drink in the front row, and they were being very vocal. And I come back with a heckle put down essentially. Yeah. And it was taking the piss out of them a little bit. Nothing up nasty. But the rest of the room didn't laugh at it, So it's like when the rest of the room
it suddenly becomes bullying
because they feel awkward. It's not necessarily funny, but it's because they feel a bit awkward about the situation. They don't want to see any confrontation happen, and it's So, but in Peggy Sue's in that environment, the whole room was behind it. And as they left, she chucked her drink over my leg. Yeah. Which was weird.
Yeah, she tried to chuck it at him, but I don't know, didn't have the wrist strength or something, and just sort of dropped it on the floor by his foot.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think with all that praying, there'd have been loads of wrist strength there, wouldn't you?
Well, that was your first response to him as well, wasn't it? It was.
That's not very Christian of you.
Was that holy water?
Yeah. But yeah, they left, and then and in fact, the rest of the night was actually better for it. It was one of these environments.
Absolutely, it was such a lovely gig after that.
It really was, and then a guy went and put 200 quid in the bucket at the end, which is madness.
And then apparently regretted it the next day.
Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. But yeah, so that's that story. Yeah, nice.
You still running gigs there?
No, I was actually with them, the guys that own it, Dave and Lorraine, and oh god, you're gonna have to cut this out because I should totally remember his name. Paul. I think Paul. Yeah, Paul.
Oh, I did that together, so it sounds like.
Yeah.
Just say Paul confidently.
Paul.
Yeah.
And Paul.
Yeah. Do you want to list them all again?
So yeah. Anyway, and we were talking about doing something eventually again. Yeah. I think obviously the trouble with that place is that they've got very long established music nights that happen in there at the weekends, which means that the only time that they've really got free is midweek. It's a lot harder to get people out on like a Wednesday night. Yeah. When you're not really over the hump of the week yet, it's a bit harder to get audiences in. So
that is the hump of the week. Do you know what? I didn't know what hump day was for years. I assumed it was something to do with football. Because it's just something I heard people say, and I didn't understand what the term was, so I just assumed it's football because that's how it generally works. If I don't understand a term that people use all the time, it's probably football.
Yeah.
And and eventually I looked it up. I looked it up online. And I was like, all right, middle of the week.
Nice.
Okay.
I imagine you got some pretty precarious internet results by typing the word hump day.
Yeah. I searched it at work so that it would never come up on my computer.
Nice.
God, sorry. Yeah. So it's on a Wednesday.
That's terribly unprofessional, but John Oakes just messaged me telling me he's on his way to the studio, the other studio. I've got to go and do some other studio bits. Yeah, sorry, mate. What's that thing over there? I've been looking at it all day. It's like for the benefit of the thing. It's like a mod.
I've just had to explain this to John as well.
Have you? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a money box.
A money box.
Yeah, but he knew it was a money box, but he just asked me about it.
I did wonder, yeah. So it's basically got like a little Chinese man figure on there.
It's not Chinese, just a little man.
Oh, okay. Problematic.
But basically, it's got this little gun. You pull that bit back, put the coin in front of it, and then you push his foot down. It releases the gun, shoots it Shoots a coin into your eye.
Mate, I struggle to save money as it is. If I had to go through all that rigmarole just to get to a quid in a pot.
But, no, it's really old. My mum had one when she was younger, so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's sort of like I used to have one when I was a kid. Like, obviously, nowhere near as antique looking as that, but like it was just basically like a plastic coffin. And when you put,
I've got the same one.
and then a
same
skeleton
one.
hand would pull out and put it in there.
Did we all have that same?
Yeah. I think everyone had it. I actually noticed in your room earlier.
I've still got one.
You've got
the Budweiser
bottle.
I tried explaining this to John yesterday, and he could not grasp. He was just like, "Yeah, it's just a big bottle." And I was like, "No, like the plastic."
The Budweiser
I said there were
bottles,
loads of them, like they were around in the 90s, and he was like, "Yeah, like the big glass bottle." And I was like, "No, it's not glass." And he's like,
"Do you remember the parking meter as well? Do you ever have one of them?"
Yeah.
It's a parking meter money box. I once, when I was a kid, and I must have been about 11 or 12, we used to live in a cul-de-sac, and out round the back was these garages, like council garages,
right.
And they were quite easy to open. Do you know what I mean? So we opened one of the empty ones and used to use it as a den. And we'd set it all out, our stuff up in there. Got like a little old camping table, and I'd bought a dartboard that I'd had up in my loft and put it up on the wall. Yeah. And I bought my parking meter money box to the garage,
right?
Because we were going to use it to like as a tuck shop fund or whatever, you know what I mean?
Swear jar.
It's ridiculous.
You
but
don't have the money to set up a swear jar.
No, exactly. I do not have the money for that. This podcast would have cost me about £1,000. So anyway, so there was this kid that we'd fallen out with around about that time, so then we wouldn't let him play in our den, right? So his dad called the police and told him that he had seen kids nicking a parking meter and taking it to the council garage. So when I say the police surrounded us, I mean, they surrounded us. There was like 4 police cars in the thing. Didn't know what to expect. Obviously, they didn't know what they were coming to. But they've opened the thing. There's just like 2 12-year-olds playing darts.
Amazing. Well, whilst we're here, obviously, we're near wrapping up. But I just got to ask, what do you think of the tea? Now that it's because obviously I didn't taste it as early as you did, but I would say that has mellowed out.
It has mellowed out a bit. Yeah, I mean the thing is,
I really like it.
More of a coffee guy.
I had this same conversation with Andy Story the other day because we were recording and like sort of we were trying this tea and he's drunk it and he went, "Yeah, I really like coffee," and I was like, "Okay."
Oh, pretty I picked his gag.
Ross's phone blowing up.
It's
now.
good.
It's so popular.
People have started to realise that I'm on Side Deaves' podcast.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god,
It's
give
like
me a
his
shout
phone
out.
is going out live. They're all calling in.
Ash Thrift's calling saying, "Oh, I keep meaning to get on it."
That was Ash Thrift. Yeah.
Do you need to go?
I am gonna have to go in a minute. Yeah, sorry.
Cool. That's all right.
Yeah.
So we've plugged the festival a
festival,
little bit, but
let's recap.
like, where can everyone get tickets and the like?
www.thesouthendfestival.co.uk. All the shows are on there.
Yeah.
I mean, 98.9. That's not proper maths, but most of the shows are free to enter.
Yes.
But you can reserve a seat for £5 online, and I'd highly recommend doing that for a lot of the shows because,
especially mine,
especially yours. After this podcast, mate, your ratings are going to be through the rizoof.
And
then you've got world globally famous TV superstar Jordan Gray on next.
Mate.
There was not an element of sarcasm in my voice.
It's in your eyes.
So yeah, thanks for that. 14th of June to the 15th of July, 2019.
What's on the 14th?
14th. We didn't really bother booking any of the big acts for the no, I'm joking. It's on the 15th, isn't it? 14th. The first day of the festival, there's a launch thing happening.
Oh, okay.
And other stuff that's not comedy related.
Oh, okay.
I'm very into that.
Oh, so I'm the first comedy.
You are the first comedy
show,
thing happening.
The first full show. You're gonna look into doing a launch.
There is
gig.
going to be a launch gig.
Yeah.
Before you go on, so
yeah.
You'll be the first Edinburgh preview.
5,
half 5, 5.
About that, yeah. About 5 o'clock at the Alex, and it's £5 to reserve your seat.
Yeah.
Also, make sure you check out Comedians Tea Party podcast live recording, and then on the same day as that, you've got
7th of July.
7th of July. You've got the Comedian podcast with Jade Adams and Stu Goldsmith.
And I should point out that for that live recording, if everything pans out, I've got a very, very good guest lined up for that recording.
Thanks, mate. Who?
You know who it is.
Oh, I do know who it is. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. If it pans out.
If it pans out.
Touch wood.
And is that a clue? Pans out. Am I right?
No.
No, it's not. I just want to throw him off the scent, mate.
Yeah. No, it's very good. Yeah, it might be a clue. It's not a clue. Yeah.
I don't know what's happening, mate. What's going
is there
on?
anything else you need to plug?
I don't think so. Little Smash Comedy every Sunday night at the Alex in Southend.
We've got coming back to the Garrison in. Is it still called?
It's called the Old Garrison at Shoebury in Shoebury Ness, which used to be Captain Mannerins. We've got a monthly comedy night starting down there on the 23rd of June, featuring Bobby Mayer. James Beattie as well is on that gig.
Great, love him. I've got to get him on this at some point.
You should definitely get him on it.
Whenever he's not in Thailand.
Yeah, he's or somewhere else.
Yeah. It's normally Thailand.
What else? The Squeeze in Leigh-on-Sea as well. That's my other Pay What You Like comedy night. That's on the last Thursday of every month. We've got some good acts lined up for that as well.
Yeah.
Ultimately, just support live comedy in all its shapes and forms.
Absolutely, especially in Southend. Don't forget Balls Out Comedy as well, which
Stevie Ray runs.
Yeah, Sorry, I hadn't forgotten his name.
Tomorrow night, I think, isn't it?
Thursday. When are you doing it?
That's got to be said. That is a lovely gig. That is.
You're doing it in July.
I think so.
Oh, I'm doing it in July.
It's one of my favourite ones to play.
It's great. It's lovely because it's great. Like, he always sells it out, but like there's not so much pressure in there that you can't try out sort of not new stuff, but sort of like semi-polished new stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful room for it, and that is the room that I've had most people come up to me in the street afterwards and say, "I saw you doing comedy there."
Yeah.
It's happened like 3 times.
Yeah,
people just come up to me and they're just like, "Are you comedians?"
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thinking about it, I've probably had a couple of people from the theatre goers, mate. They're friendly.
Yeah,
right.
They really are.
I'm gonna have to go, mate.
Yeah,
sorry.
Well, thanks very much for coming on.
I need to urinate after drinking both of those teas and a coffee in the car.
Yes, I also need to urinate, but we'll do it at separate times.
Don't cross the streams.
Yes.
What a f***ing way to end, mate. What's happened?
I keep trying to end it nicer, but you keep.
There was a great curtains down moment earlier.
Yeah.
And I said I like coffee. Just cut it there.
Yeah.
And then place the plugs in the advert or something.
I don't cut out as much as you think I do.
Great.
Because you're like, what is it, 4-hour show on?
4-hour show. It's whittled down to 30 minutes.
Yeah, whittled down to 30 minutes. This we've recorded for 1 hour and 7 minutes, and this will be about an hour.
You're never
going to
get that time back out there.
Yeah.
Never. That's gone forever.
It's a good journey. It's a good journey time. Good length of.
On your deathbed, you're going to be remembering this hour and thinking, I could have had a bungee jump or something. Right. Anyway,
this could have been what killed you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
And,
thanks for having me.
I'll see you all soon.
See you later. Bye.
Bye. Well, that was Ross McGrane. What another great podcast. Really good fun. I really enjoyed that. Now, as I stated on the last podcast, the reason that I'm rushing a second one out this week is because obviously we talk about the Southend Festival, which is starting tomorrow, which is tomorrow, Friday, the 14th of June. So obviously, it's great time to bring it out. I just wanted to bring it out in time so that people might hear it and go, oh yeah, maybe. And especially because I am doing my show Size Matters at the Alex on Saturday the 15th of June 2019. In case you listen to this in the future, you have missed out. But you can pre-order your ticket for that on it's at 6 p.m. by the way, on a Saturday, so you've got plenty of time to go out afterwards and go wild on the town. But 6 p.m. on Saturday, you can reserve. It's free entry, so it's pay what you want. You can pay whatever you want, whatever you think it was worth. So like 50, 60 quid, that's fine. But you can, so you don't have to buy a ticket, but you can reserve a ticket for £5 online. Just to sort of ensure that you get a seat, because otherwise you might be disappointed if we sell out. So just go to www.thesouthendfestival.co.uk, and mine is the show on the top of the comedy page, because it's the first one. I'm launching the festival, so come and see it. It's going to be spectacular. Is it? I hope so. That's a lot to build myself up too much. No, come and see it. It's going to be really good fun. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. I hope you enjoyed me. I hope you enjoy me on Saturday when you come and watch me, because you are going to. Now, don't forget, if you want to follow Ross on sort of any of the on the social medias, you can follow him on Instagram at therossmcgrane, on Twitter at rossmcgrane, on Facebook, he has got his own page. Just search Ross McGrane, you'll find him. There's also a page for Ross and John, for their radio show. So they got a podcast of the radio show, and that is just facebook.com/Ross and John. And I think they're on Twitter as Ross and John Pod, maybe. I don't know. Again, you'll find them. Just search Ross McGrane. This is a wonder of the internet. You can also check out his website at www.rossmcgrane.co.uk. You'll work it out. I'm sure you can all operate the internet. I believe in you. But please don't forget to drop us a 5-star review, because that really helps us out for being seen. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. Give us a little share if you can, and a plug wherever you can. That would be absolutely amazing. I really appreciate that. Additionally, I have got listeners in America, Australia, Canada, Poland, and many in England. If I've missed anywhere off the list, tell me where you're listening from. It's brilliant. I love that it's getting around the world. That's incredible. That's really cool. So I hope it translates well, and I apologise if I speak too fast. Let me know if you enjoy it. It's just, you can get in touch. You can either leave a sort of a review or whatever, and let me know what you think, or just send me. You can get me on Instagram. It's at Tea Party Pod. So that's the letter T Party Pod. The same for Twitter at Tea Party Pod. Send me an email. It's teapartypod@gmail.com. And on Facebook, you could just search the Comedians Tea Party. I think it's facebook.com/Tea Party Pod, but I'm not certain of that. It should be. I set it up myself, but there we go. And obviously, you can find me just at Deaves on everything. Just Deaves. You can search at SIDEAVES. Deaves. Cool. Thanks for listening. Enjoy your weekends, and hopefully I see you in Southend, my hometown, doing my hometown show before I start touring it, possibly later in the year / early next year maybe / before I record it. Cool. Thanks very much. I love you. Bye.